Hey guys, what is going on? Happy Tuesday. In today's video, I'd like to do a deep dive analysis, sharing with you the latest updates around the Bitcoin markets. We'll also be talking about updates around strategy, what the latest news around strategy, eventually with the upcoming quarterly announcement that's going to be happening on Thursday, what my predictions are, along with updates around 21. We've heard a new company created a two-pronged approach with support entities formulating a new company that is creating a new whale that's entering this global race, global game theory, where Saylor, his strategy is now being adopted by many companies now bringing in more people to the poker table. Now, will this be a competitor of Sailor? Will this add value to MSTR's overall market capitalization? How does this impact strategy, or will this ultimately be a win-win situation? We'll cover all of those updates. And I would also encourage you watching through the end of the video where I will be doing a deep dive technical analysis, price prediction, of strategy and MSTR, along with playing epic video clip of Jack Mallers and his assessment with Bitcoin, and an epic video clip of Michael Saylor. So let's get started. Let's first off start off with this post from Simple Mining. Who would you add to this picture? So obviously we have the main players, the developer of Bitcoin. We got Saylor. Who's going to be added to the fourth member? Will it be Jack Mallers? Who do you think has that credibility? Who should be along with this photo here? I'd love to hear what your comments are. Leave it down below. We have the Bitcoin therapist posting today. MSTR has exhausted its ATM. We're going to pump so hard. So most of you are wondering, when will MSTR announce another ATM? Oftentimes, when we hear about ATMs, we worry about dilution. But you know what? When MSTR leverages this playbook where they increase their ATMs through convertible notes and other ways to buy more Bitcoin, this is actually a win-win situation for Bitcoin. We've heard from companies like 21, where now they're measuring like Bitcoins per share. Obviously, that can all be factored in with companies like Strategy as well. So even though share count increases, the available shares, that allows for each shareholder to hold on to more Bitcoin for every share that's gained. Cryptos R Us also posts corporations added over 80,000 Bitcoin to reserves in the month of April alone. That's over 6,000 more Bitcoin acquired than in Q1 2025 in a single month. Put that into perspective. We just continue to see Bitcoin hodling. Companies are buying it, countries are buying it, retail is buying it, financial institutions are buying it, you name it. We're only going to see this exponentially increase until it only gets more and more difficult to buy a Bitcoin as the price goes up. So Q2 2025, we're just going to see this continue to ramp up. In fact, now that Saylor has, 21 now a big time whale buying up Bitcoin, I think that really just is a good thing in that Saylor will not be complacent. He's going to raise ATM and he's going to pull down that lever, become a bigger black hole, try to suck up all that fiat money and acquire more and more Bitcoin. So I do think the race to 1 million Bitcoins is going to, ramp up very quickly. Take a look at Bitmaster's posts in that MSTR has 26x in the last 28 months. Put that into perspective. And how was that done? 6x via Bitcoin appreciation, with Bitcoin going 16,000 to 95,000. 2x via Treasury operations, 0.00085 Bitcoin for every share. 2 plus X via MNAV expansion. Obviously, we've seen MSTR's MNAV continue to increase. People who only invest in Bitcoin and refuse to learn about MSTR left an extra 20x of gains on the table. Obviously, volatility is vitality, and anytime when Bitcoin goes up by 1x, we know for sure MSTR is going to like double or even triple that. We see that with the performance that MSTR has shown as expressed by Bitmaster. Base case poses that Saylor will have to announce a new equity ATM offering. Obviously, Saylor has used up the ATM offering, so he will just continue to pull down that lever, get more people to invest, where he will use that money to buy up more Bitcoin. There's no way we're heading into MNAV expansion with no available ATM to tap. He will announce it at the earnings call. So most likely in 2 days, we're going to hear more and more about that. And what base case also poses is it me or is Saylor doing this backwards? He fully tapped the equity ATM first when he should tap the debt first, lever up, manifest a glorious 5 to 10x MNAV, and then tap the equity ATM to buy Bitcoin. Keep in mind, Saylor is smarter than all of us. Very true. It'll be interesting to hear what's going to be announced on Thursday. Let's talk about 21. So we've heard about this new company that's created. Obviously, we've heard about the stock, CEP, Cantor Enterprise Partner. The stock price has gone from like, $13 all the way up close to about $40. There's a lot of volatility going on with potential upside. But just looking at what's going on, we have this two-pronged approach. We have Tether, Bitfinex, agreeing to contribute 31,500 Bitcoin, in exchange for Nuco interest. And within 10 business days, Tether purchases incremental 462 million of Bitcoin to be purchased by 21 upon closing of PIPE and convert financing. So at the close with this contribution from Tether and Bitfinex, that's going to allow for 21 to have 31,500 Bitcoins on their treasury. But through the PIPE investments that will contribute, 200 million of cash and Bitcoin to SPAC in exchange for SPAC shares. As soon as SPAC merges with and into SPAC merge sub, the SPAC shareholders will receive 21 Class A shares in exchange for SPAC shares. And once all of this comes into fruition, SoftBank will purchase 21 Class A and Class B shares from Tether for purchase price based on the value of the 10,500 Bitcoin plus interest. So when we actually have 21 being created, once they become the official company, they will have about, 42,000 Bitcoins on their treasury, which really puts the company in third place, out of all, companies around the world, right behind Strategy and Marathon Digital Holdings. So question is, will 21 continue to ramp up their purchase? Can they get close towards, what MSTR has? Most of you are wondering, is this race going to, just ramp up Strategy's purchase? Let me know what your thoughts are. Will XXI even catch up to Strategy? Will they get to like 20%? Will they get to 50%? Or is that not even possible? It all really depends. We know Cantor Fitzgerald supports XXI. SoftBank is partnering with them as well. But can they, speed up the amount of Bitcoins on their HODL, get, even to like $100,000? Obviously, Strategy is well ahead of the game at 553,000 Bitcoin. But can XXI get into second place and then eventually get, to like 100,000 Bitcoin? So no company is not even close to like, 5, 10% of what Strategy has right now. So definitely Strategy is winning, but it all just depends on how much money can be acquired by these companies to buy up Bitcoin. Let's take a look at technicals of Bitcoin. So obviously we're seeing some nice short-term run up. One of the key things is, continuing to see the price consolidation over the last 7 days hovering above that 90K barrier, which is a key stable sign that, we're not going to see potential volatility of this dropping down. What we've seen just based on technical is that the price action has been just, dropping down, with this downward slope bull flag over the course of many months since November. But, key thing is breaking out of that 50-day SMA and then breaking through that 200-day simple moving average with this big candle that occurred, late April. And most of you are wondering, are we going to break through into that 100K barrier? I'm thinking in May, there's a high possibility we're going to break into that, 100K range, possibly even top that prior resistance of 109K. But Q2, Q3 is looking very good. We may very well break into that 150 to 250K range just based on all the forecasts that we've been hearing. But this is looking really good just based on technicals, retracement for multiple months now. I think that Bitcoin may very well just continue to gap up. And there's talks from like Bitwise in that we may very well not have the Bitcoin cycles anymore because of all of the external factors. There's so much interest around Bitcoin right now. In fact, Trump, his hotel even in Dubai is now accepting crypto. So there's only going to be um, a limited amount left for Bitcoin. Obviously, companies right now like 21 and Strategy are buying up so much Bitcoin, so much to the point where it bypasses even the amount of Bitcoin miners, being awarded, every 10 minutes, a block is rewarded, with like 3 Bitcoins. But that's like about 425 Bitcoins to mine per day. The amount that's being purchased right now on the Bitcoin, exchanges, all of that right now is bypassing the amount of Bitcoins mined. So there's definitely a supply shock going on, and I do think that the technicals will see that reflecting, higher price action. Bitcoin expected to ramp up into that 150, 250K barrier. One of the key things I've been talking about is the rise in the MACD, rise in the relative strength. We're seeing definitely signs of increase with the technicals along with volume increase. And we're seeing higher highs after this, this big downward slope, from 550 top off November, all the way down to like 220. We saw 220, be met multiple times, in fact, 3 times since February 2025 onward. But one of the key indicators is, having that prior initial phase resistance met at 340, and we definitely broke through that. Now, are we just going to see price action, break into that prior resistance level two, which is somewhere around that, 440 range? So as soon as we see market participants pushing up the price action to get to that prior resistance, we may very well flip the switch, have the retest resistance become the new support line, have that hover around that phase in Q2, and we may very well see that, that retest at the higher level prior resistance, in phase three. But it all depends, once Bitcoin gets into that new all-time high, we are going to see strategy just break through all of these resistance and start, climbing the ladder, possibly into that 4-digit range as well. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it's very possible, and I'm bullish that we may very well see this. With this company, they are, transforming how we look at traditional finance, similar to what Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook has done, similar to Mag 7. Well, we're seeing strategy really become, like a Bitcoin 7 type of company. Just based on the weekly charts, we're seeing consistent green candles as well. We talked about the MACD on the daily, but just on the weekly, we see that crossing. I was talking about how we're going to see like sine waves of like green candles on the MACD, relative strength. We haven't seen that overbought situation happen since since November. So it's been quite some time where we haven't seen, heavy inflows coming in, but I definitely do see confidence, consumer confidence with strategy right now, which is why we have so much companies buying up MSTR as well as retail. We're looking very solid just based on the technicals of strategy along with Bitcoin price, holding in that steady 90K. We may very well gap up very soon here, but I do think that, that 550 prior resistance, we may very well achieve that in Q2. Q3, we may see that huge breakout of strategy in Bitcoin. With all of that, let's listen to Jack Mallor and Saylor.
In the market, or the opportunity rather, that we've identified is to be a pure play Bitcoin business. We want to be the ultimate vehicle for the capital markets to participate in Bitcoin. And so that's not only accessing the capital markets to raise accretive Bitcoin denominated capital and grow something like Bitcoin per share through fundraising, but also building Bitcoin native business lines and business models. I think, as Tether and myself co-founding the business as partners, we have a lot of experience and success in our other business ventures in finding high margin, high growth opportunities. And we hadn't seen anyone that was using access to the capital markets, access to a massive Bitcoin balance sheet, extend that opportunity beyond just buying Bitcoin and actually building on top of Bitcoin. So we are a Bitcoin business at our core. It's at our founding. It's in our name. It's on our board. It's at our leadership. We build Bitcoin products. We're focused on Bitcoin cash flow, and then obviously an ability to accumulate Bitcoin through capital market fundraising and grow our Bitcoin per share. So we are as pure play a Bitcoin opportunity in the capital markets as we think exists. And that is what sets us apart from everyone.
Volatility was a gift to the faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy. It scares away the people that are already conventionally rich, that have all the money. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to spend 100 hours or 200 hours, if you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you. If you have more money than time, and you're arrogant and egotistical and you just pick the obvious, then if the volatility goes away, you buy Bitcoin. If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel and how your viewers would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes away and people start to agree with you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed another episode of All I See Is W. Now, most of you are wondering, with 21, is this really going to benefit Saylor and MSTR? I think that Saylor, he's been promoting, companies to embrace Bitcoin, and by having other companies like this whale company, 21, buy and embrace Bitcoin, that's only going to be a win-win situation for Saylor and the team. Although that would drive some indirect competition for the company to continue to stack sats and increase the HODL, but ultimately that will validate Saylor's overall strategy to continue to buy Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin price is going to go to the moon. So as other companies adopt the, Bitcoin standard, that's only going to make the message more clear and transparent all around the world. And this will just continue to drive up global game theory. So I hope that gives you some color. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, guys.